Or Subpart E Unified Registration System. The 39201 U.S. registration purpose of the section is dealt with the management register of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration Unified Registration System file schedule for the general information pertaining to the person subject to the Unified Registration System regulation requirements. Applicability except for the provided paragraph G of the section that each of the motor carrier include the motor private motor carrier the exempt for a higher motor carrier, non-exempt for a higher motor carrier, the motor carrier of the passenger for that ticket participates in through ticketing arrangement with one more interstate or higher motor carrier of the passenger intermodule equipment provided or broker freight forward subject to the requirements of this subchapter must file for the form MCSA 1 of the Unified Registration System online application at Florida Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Identify the operation of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration oversight of the application applicable within the operating authority of the Title 49, Chapter 139 is applicable. Obtaining the hazard material safety permit with as required in Title 49 U.S. Code 5109 is applicable. The cargo tank of the cargo tank motor vehicle manufacturer assembly with a repair inspector or tester of the designing certification engineer subject to registration requirement under Title 49 CFR 107502 Title 49 U.S. Code 5108 must satisfy the requirements of electronically filing MCSA 1 in Unified Registration System on the online application Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Generally, a person fails to form the MCSA 1, the Unified Registration System online applicant pursuant to the paragraph D1 of the section subject penalties described in Title 49 U.S. Standards Code 521B2B, Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 14901A. Appropriate a person that failed to complete the biannual update of the information percentage of the paragraph D2 of this section subject with the penalties prescribed in Title 49 521B2B, the Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 14901A is appropriate to deliver the activation U.S. dot number. Person furnishes the misleading information made with the statement of the form, the MCSA 1 URS online application subject to the penalties prescribed in Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 521B2B, Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 14901 A, 49 U.S. Standard Code 14907 as appropriate. Order upon receipt of the process of the MCSA of the URS online application for the issue of the applicant with the inactive designation number, U.S. dot number of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, active of the U.S. dot number of the after completion applicable to the administrative filings pursuant to 39205A. List the application subject to the 39205B. An applicant might be from begin operating no more commercial motor vehicle with the U.S. dot number. They will after the date of the agency written notice of the U.S. dot number with the activated. Alright, the motor carrier must display with the U.S. dot number that each of the self-propelled commercial motor vehicles defined in 395 F with additional information that required with 39021 filing schedule. Each person listed in 39201 must be electronically filing form the MCSA URS online application of the following times before it begins the operation every 24 months. The prescribed in paragraph D3 of the section person assigned with the U.S. dot number that must be filed with the updated form MCSA 1 URS online application every 24 months over the following schedule. If the next last digit of the U.S. dot number is out of the person must file with the update with the odd number of the calendar year. If the next to last digit of the U.S. dot number is evenly person with the file with the update with every numbered calendar year. When there is change of the legal name of the form of the business within the address of the registered entity, they must notify the agency change of the legal name form of the business within the address within 30 days of the change of the filing the update of the form MCSA 1 URS online Unified Registration System online application reflecting revised information notification over the change in legal name form of the business address does not remove the registered entity from the requirements to file updated form MCSA 1 every 4 months in accordance with the paragraph D3 of this section. When they transfer operating authority, both persons obtain the operating authority through the transfer defined part 365 subpart D subchapter transferee over the person transferring with the transferor must each notify the agency transfer within 30 days of the consumption transfer with the following. Or an updating form of the MCSA 1 with the URS online with the transfer with the transferee with the existing U.S. dot number the time transfer the new form of the MCSA 1 URS online application transferee with the did not have the existing U.S. dot number at the time of the transfer. The copy of the operating authority being transferred with the notification transfer operating authority did not relieve the registered entity with the requirement of the file updated form MCSA 1 URS online application every 24 hours according with the D3 of the section. Availability form the MCSA 1 URS online application involved the complete instruction of the FCSA website where to file the person subject to registration requirements of subpart electronically of the form MCSA with the URS online application of the FCMS website. Exemption the rules subpart do not govern the application of the maximum domiciled motor carrier provide transportation of the property of the passenger of interstate of the commerce between the Mexico points of the United States beyond the municipality commercial zone with the United States Mexico international border applicable procedure governing transportation of Mexico domiciled Saddle Motors provided in 390.19. Or 39203, the PRISM state registration biannual updates. Motorcade registration vehicles stay with the participate in the Performance Registration Information System Management Program authorized under the 4000 Transportation Equity Act of the 21st Century. Public Law 105, 178, 112, Statute 107, that alternately must satisfy the requirements set forth in 39201 electronically filed with the U.S. to require the U.S. registration biannual update with the information state according to policy procedure provided in state integrated U.S. registration update data capability vehicle registration state procedure that do not form motor carrier will follow the form the MCSA URS online application submitted with the update for the period with the specified 39201 D2. The motor carrier must complete the following directly for Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. For motor carrier, unless they're providing transportation except for the commercial registration requirements of Title 49 U.S. Standard Code, Chapter 139 must obtain the authority of the prescribed 39201 part of the 365 subchapters of operating in interstate commerce. Or 39205 special requirement of registration. General, a person applying with the operator of the motor carrier of the broker of the freight forward with the owner of the subpart make with an additional filing described in paragraph A2 and A3, section condition of registration under this part with the 90 day of the day of the applicant with the evidence of the financial responsibility, person responsible, registered for the conduct operation interstate commerce of the fire for hire motor carrier broker freight forward must file with the evidence of financial responsibility required in 387 of the subpart C and D with the subchapter. Person registered for the transfer has the material defined in Title 49 171A with new quantity with the material listed in selected agent toxin. Title 42 CFR Part 73 Interstate Commerce with must file with evidence. Financial responsibility was required under the Part 387 of the Subpart C of the subchapter. Designation agent serve with the process for the all motor carriers both the provided and for hire with the broker freight forwards required with the registrar under the subpart may designate agent serve with the process person upon whom the core agency process may be served with the following the rules in Part 366 or subchapter. If the applicant is subject to a protest period, agency will not activate the U.S. number until the expiration of the protest period is provided in 365 115 subchapter of the subchapter of the protest received after Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration denied that rejects the protest as applicable. Alright, 39207 and other governing regulation. Motor carrier. If the motor carrier granted registration under the part successfully complete the application for the new entrance safety assurance program that described in paragraph A1 through A13 of the section condition of the permanent registration. A U.S. Canada domicile of the motor carrier subject to the new entrance safety assurance program under part 385 subpart D of the subchapter Mexico domicile motor carrier subject to safety monitoring program of the part 385 subpart B of the subchapter in non-Northern American domicile motor carrier subject to the safety monitoring program in the part 385 subpart 1 of this chapter. Only the legal name of the trade name of the motor carrier of the within Federal Form MCSA 1 Unified Registration System online application. Broker freight forward non-exempt fire motor carriers. Broker freight forward must obtain the authority pursuant to Part 365 chapter condition obtaining the U.S. registration. A motor carrier registration engine engaged in transportation that is not exempt of the economic regulation. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration obtaining the authority pursuant to the 365 subchapter of the condition of obtaining the U.S. registration. Intermounted equipment provided. Intermounted equipment that provides subject to the requirements of Part C of this part. Only legal name and single trade number of the intermounted equipment that provided with the maybe with the form MCSA 1 URS online. Intermounted equipment provided with the identify each of the unit that interchange intermounted equipment by use the sign the U.S. number. Hazard material safety permit application. The person who applied with the hazard material safety permit is subject to the requirements of Part 385 of the subpart E with the subject cargo tank facilities, and subject to the requirements of Title 49 CFR Part 107, the subpart F, Title 49 CFR Part 172, subpart H, and Title 49 CFR Part 180. Alright, 39209 pre-authorization safety audit. Non-North American domicile motor carrier seeking to provide transportation property for the passengers in interstate commerce with the United States must pass the reauthorization safety audit under 385-607C of the subchapter condition of receiving the registration under this part. Alright, subpart E, URS online, Unified Registration Online Application. The U.S. registration purpose of the section is supplemented to register the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration Form MCSA 1 Unified Registration Online Application beginning January 1st, beginning January 14, 2017. Applicably notwithstanding of the provision of the part of the Title 49 CFR 385-305 TB2 of the applicant private motor carrier of the new applicant is if the motor hire subject to the requirements of the subchapter must file with the MCSA 1 Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration identify the operation of Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration safety oversight of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration 1 the Unified Registration online application of both the application and the applicant and the instruction available to the ability of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration website definition for the purpose of the section new application either applying with the operating authority of the registration U.S. dot number who does not at the time application arrived at the registration U.S. dot motor carrier the Mexican owned controlled or freight forwarded number which has never been used active with the registration U.S. dot motor carrier Mexican controlled or for freight forwarded. So, Part 5, leasing, interchange passenger car, carrying commercial motor vehicles.